Today we're going to talk about burnout. Perhaps you're burnt out and don't even realize it. I know certainly I have been, and I'm going to today discuss this subject. Are you burnt out? How to avoid burnout? How to make sure that you actually embrace a day-to-day life that's sustainable. So come on, let's talk burnout, a difficult subject. So I've had my own personal experience with burnout, and certainly I can tell you, I didn't even know that I was burnt out. My wife described my problem to me. She said, "Simon, you have a nail in your foot, but you've had it there so long, it's so infected that you've got used to it being there. You don't even feel the pain anymore." And you know what? She was right. I actually had to stop working to realize just how much stress I had put on my body. I think a lot of the time adrenaline kicks in, but if it's permanently kicking in, it just becomes normal. And that is a big problem. So how can we avoid it? Well, the first thing we can do to try and avoid burnout is give ourselves some space. Now, I know right now, considering what's going on in the world, it's really tricky, especially with lockdown kicking in and out all over the place. I know that we all feel a bit crammed in, but imagine that at a scale point. You basically need to get outside. You need to give yourself some space. Space from your family, space from the ones you love, space from work. We all need space. And if you do it, defragment, give yourself that time, you will be able to rebuild and be a better father, a better mother, a better business person. So taking time out is so important. I know myself, when I've actually taken time out, stopped thinking about the business for 5 minutes, that's actually when I've had my best ideas. And that gives you some idea. If you're having your best ideas when you're not working, that your brain is overstimulated at work and you need to take a break. One of the biggest contributors to present day stress, and in my view, leading to burnout, is this thing. It is both the most amazing product we've ever experienced in any of our lives, of course, but it changes things. You're allowed to work from home easier. Of course, now we all have to anyway, but it is incredible as a product. But equally, it is not a drug. It is more like a reminder of something we don't need all the time. So you can avoid it. You're strong enough. You don't need this phone all the time. It's not that you're addicted. It's just that the system is designed to pull you in. Try your very best to get rid of this. There we go, we're through it. We got rid of it. It ain't so bad not to have it. Now, you don't think you're addicted to your phone? Try living without it for a week. Imagine that. Imagine that. And if that you can't imagine, that's when you know you've got to put it away. And give yourself a chance to not be addicted to it by putting it not in the bed next to you at night, but far, far away at the other end of the house. Or hide it. What I do is when I go outside for a walk, I leave it behind. It's so hard to do. There's 20 reasons why I shouldn't. My brain is trying to make me keep it, but if you get rid of it, you'll have a better life and you will avoid burnout. Phone is for sure one of the reasons we burn out. One of the hacks to help ensure you don't get burnout and keep yourself sane in these difficult times is to try and do one thing each day that you wouldn't normally do. So today, for example, I went out and got a coffee, which I normally do, but then I went a different route. I just walked a different location than I normally walked, had a different scenery around me, just for 10 minutes. It makes a huge difference. It gives your brain a chance to absorb a new environment and distract your mind from any concerns that you have and stresses that you have. So get yourself into a different routine, even if it's just for 10 minutes in a day. It will make a huge difference to your mental health. One of the other ways I've discovered personally to ensure I don't go into burnout like I have been before is to actually give yourself a clear idea of why you're doing what you're doing. I call this purpose, but that might be too deep. I just think it's a focus, something bigger than you, a reason, often helping others, for example. That's why a lot of the time caregivers are actually quite healthy, because they have to get up every day and go and look after someone. That creates somewhat of a desire to live. And I know it sounds a bit extreme, but a reason to live is what your brain needs, and that often involves giving. Now that's why I noticed in the UK in the early stages of coronavirus, when the NHS in the UK called for help, 500,000 people signed up. Those are the smart ones. They did it because it's the right thing to do to try and help in difficult times, but it's also good for their mental health. Personally, I do mentoring a lot, for example. That makes me feel like I'm contributing to this universe and helps me avoid burnout because it gives me a sense of happiness and fulfillment. And the next tip I've got for you to avoid burnout might sound bloody obvious, but I want to say it anyway. Exercise. Now, I know for a lot of you that's obvious. Exercise. You know how you're going to make sure it happens? Put it into your diary like an appointment. Include it in your calendar. Whatever you've got going on every day, exercise is one of those things. No matter what happens, you can't cancel it. Imagine it's the most important client meeting you've got, because it is. It's you. It's your body. And absolutely, I know this is hard because I have the same problem. Actually, I love to exercise, but it's never easy to get out there and do it. Put it in your diary. Make it a fixed thing every single day that you do, even if it's for 25 minutes. Now, of course, if you get outside, that's great, but maybe just do some push-ups on the floor now. In fact, pause this video. Do some push-ups. Are you pausing? Is it still playing? Now, burnout has many levels to it. And one of the things I experienced myself was this concept of not really setting boundaries for myself or for other people to engage with me. I am, of course, as a successful entrepreneur, in somewhat demand. So I do find that there's a lot of people out there who want my time and I want to give it to them. But equally, you've got to set boundaries. So I create content like this in the hope that the questions you ask me about how to avoid burnout, I can produce it and then send it to you. So it's better than having 10, 15 minutes of my time. But what I'm saying here is you've got to set boundaries for yourself. You've got to give yourself rules. For example, one of the things I do is I say I'm going to bed at 11 o'clock. My little boy who's 3, he has to go to bed at 7. Why should the rules be different from me? So I set myself a bedtime routine and I do it, I follow it. And I think that's important. Equally, I think if there's a situation in your life where people are perhaps taking the piss or taking things too far, you've got to set the rules. What are the rules of engagement for you? Especially these days when we seem to be, closer and closer together in many respects with all the different elements of lockdown and so on that are happening around the world again. You might be in lockdown right now, you might not be, but the point is we are all in close proximity of each other. You need to have rules. You need to have time for yourself. You need to have time one-on-one with your partner. You need to have time with your family. But most important, to get all of that in, is you need to have rules and boundaries. Now, finally, I'll talk about something that I think is quite sensitive and quite difficult to actually explain, but make sure what you're feeling is burnout and not just simply either malnutrition, lack of sleep, a lack of appropriate vitamins, or lack of water. I think a lot of the time I know a lot of people that actually are thinking that they're burnt out, but in reality there's just something missing from one element in their day. Often just drink more water. That's what I found. So right now I'm not in burnout, but I have to say I do feel tired, in part because I haven't been following my rules. And I know that. I've been going to bed late, I've been getting up very early because I've got a little boy who wakes me up early. And of course, that could feel like burnout. And I sometimes say, oh, maybe I'm getting burnt out because I'm working hard. But in reality, it's because I haven't followed those rules. I'm not there yet. Ironically, real burnout, I believe your adrenaline is so pumped and so high, you don't even know it. That's actually the biggest danger with burnout. So if you're feeling tired, it's probably more that you haven't drunk enough water. But if you're feeling really like you've got stuff to do and a lot of pressure and you're not even listening to the fact that you're tired, then I think you might be on the path to burnout. So just watch out and make sure you can understand the difference. Now guys, I'm not a health expert. I'm just an entrepreneur that's been through burnout. So I don't want to say medically how to define what is burnout and what isn't. If you guys think I've also missed something in the burnout recognition or support side of it, feel free to comment below. The most important thing is I'm giving content out there to people that need it, and I've been through it myself, so I feel I have some authority as a personal experience, but I'm no doctor. So please feel free to throw in the comments anything I've missed. In addition, if you've got any questions about burnout and my own experience, I'm more than happy to help. Do ask me. I do reply to comments. Be patient. It takes us time, but I always reply. In addition, if anyone out there you feel like you want to softly mention that they want to watch out on burnout or avoid burnout, please share this video and make sure they avoid burnout. You'll be doing them a big favor just by sharing this video. And finally, if you thought I brought any value today, please hit that like button. It's the only way I get any appreciation for what I'm doing, and it means a hell of a lot to me. If I ever see a thumbs down, I don't actually know why, it really upsets me, but equally feel free to thumbs down if you think I can do better. I'm trying to improve the content I'm producing, so I always love feedback, positive or negative. Thanks for listening, folks, and have a stress-free day.